Hey nerds, you want to know what Luke Skywalker thought of Cal Kestis, or why Rey ended up taking the mantle of the Skywalker family and took on the name and renounced her Palpatine legacy? You're going to want to check out these books. These are amazing books from Titan Books, The Secrets of the Jedi and The Secrets of the Sith. They've just been released. These are the new versions, because there were already versions of this that existed before, but didn't include all the new stuff of the sequels, of the sequel trilogy. So we're going to check these, and we're going to check them with the ones that exist from the Clone Troopers, the Wookiees, and the Bounty Hunters, because this thing is really cool.
May the Force be with you, Padawan.
Hey nerds, welcome back to the Fellowship of the Nerds. I am your host as always, Luke Skywalker, and today, like we said at the beginning, we have a really cool one. This is not a lightsaber review, but these books, I found them to be really phenomenal. The Secret of the Jedi and The Secrets of the Sith. Essentially, this is The Secret of the Jedi is essentially a book chronicled by Luke, and this one is chronicled by Palpatine. And we already had these books. Actually, these books came into my radar because I saw another channel that was doing some extracts of it, and I thought, oh wow, that's super interesting. I looked them up, and then I found out that these were coming out. I was like, oh well, I'm not going to buy the ones that are already out there. I'm going to wait for these. These came out recently, and I just thought that I would check them out for you guys because they're really cool. So we're about to do that in a second. Before we do that, remember to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. And if you're a regular of us, thank you very much for tuning in again. Also, we're going to also, besides of checking these, we're going to be checking these, which granted, they're an entirely different design, but these are The Secrets of the Clone Troopers, The Secrets of the Wookiees, and The Secrets of the Bounty Hunters. These are a bit, I would say, a bit more kid oriented a little bit, and the ones that we just get now are more adult oriented, but I think they're enjoyable either way, to be fair. So let me show you a little bit of what they come with, because they're absolutely cool. Okay, and we start with The Secrets of the Jedi, that theoretically has been chronicled by Luke. It's been written by Luke. It's very interesting, has a lot of really nice illustrations. And the introduction speaks, says the following: the Jedi Order is dead. All that's left now are legends, or at least that was supposed to be the case. My name is Luke Skywalker, and had everything gone as I planned, I would have been the last Jedi. The introduction, I'm not going to read all of it to you. You have to buy the book and know it, but and read it yourself. But it kind of gives a feeling that this was written sometime after Rey went to Ahch-To, but before he faced Kylo. So it kind of looks like he put this together as he was in Ahch-To, and he added notes maybe the night before he faced Kylo. I don't know. It's kind of like the timeline on this, because of him written in and all the things that he mentions. It's kind of fuzzy, but it is very interesting because it talks about Force enlightenment, the light side, obviously. Dark side, midichlorians, and this is very interesting. In the midichlorian section, he says, during the time of the Galactic Republic, the Jedi used science to explain why some of us feel the Force more strongly than others. Prospective younglings were tested by the Jedi Order for midichlorians, microscopic life forms that reside in all living cells and impart the will of the Force to their hosts. Those with a higher number of midichlorians were able to hear the will of the Force more clearly than others. Personally, I've never been one to worry about how exactly the Force whispers to me. All that matters to me is that it still does. This is kind of given, like, it leans a lot into what The Last Jedi was trying to say, as in, like, everybody has a Force, everybody to less, and it's something that George himself said, like, that midichlorians were like bacteria. Everybody has it. Some have it more than others, and people have more, are able to, like, hear the will of the Force more. But it was trying to, like, at the same time, this is, I think it's trying to like, yeah, forget about the midichlorians, you know, like important things that the Force talks to us. Talks about the Old Republic, how, you know, everything went to chaos because of the fights, the battles between Jedi and the Sith. Talks about the High Republic, and this is very interesting. It says here, but even the brightest of lights still casts a shadow. Legends passed down across the years tell how the Jedi of the High Republic faced a number of great threats, including a carnivorous species of plant known as the Drengir, ruthless marauders called the Nihil, and a mysterious group of nameless beings who were said to have fed on the Force itself. Some even say that it was during the brightest of times that the Sith began to crawl their way back out of the darkness. There are even whispers that legendary Jedi like Vanessa Rowe may have been complicit in their return, but we may never know for sure. So this kind of looks to me that this was written after the Acolyte was released, but and once we knew for sure that there wasn't going to be a second season, because that was kind of left hanging there. What was her involvement with the stranger? Talks about the Jedi High Council, Clone Wars, the end of the Order. Talks about his dad. There's a note here that looks to be like a note that Yoda would have written to Qui-Gon after Anakin was tested. It says, Master Jin, pass the test the boy has. Strong in the Force he is, just as you believe. The chosen one he may be, but ready to train in the ways of the Force he is not. Much fear I sense in him, much pain. Watch the boy closely, we must. Depend upon it, our future may. Very, very interesting. Talks about a lot of characters, Yoda, Qui-Gon, and I love the fact that he says, while he might not be a Skywalker by blood, Qui-Gon Jinn shares a deep connection to my family's history through the Jedi Order. It's pretty much an idea that Anakin tells Ahsoka about, like, you know, a legacy. You know, a legacy goes all the way back to Yoda. You know, so it's Yoda, Qui-Gon, Yoda, Dooku, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Luke. So Anakin, Ahsoka, Luke, Rey, and if you go through Ahsoka, you would have to include there Sabine. It's very, very, very interesting. Talks a lot about Obi-Wan, Kit Fisto, Kiadi, Shakti. Also, I love that some of this says how they die. But with her, it says the lessons she passed on to the clones proved more effective than Master T could have imagined, as far too many Jedi would eventually learn firsthand. But it doesn't say how she dies because there's so much controversy about. There's like 3 deaths film of her. Talks about Plo Koon and his connection with Ahsoka. Talks about Ahsoka and says, get this, says Ahsoka found her call in providing vital information and assistance to the Royal Forces under the codename Fulcrum and leading the search for a missing Imperial Grand Admiral named Thrawn. Ahsoka also became an important ally as I began to build my new Jedi Academy in Ossus. So, kind of has the feeling that Ahsoka will have more to do with Luke, maybe, hopefully. He says, Windu led a group to the Jedi to arrest the corrupt leader, and had my father not betrayed him, he might have bested the Dark Lord in combat. It does not say that he's dead. Very, very interesting. This is a page from the Journal of Caleb Dooms from Canon Jarrus. And you know, and obviously he talks here about death, but I think it's very cool that there's a page here from the Diary of Kanan. Obviously he talks about Kanan here, and talks about Ezra, talks about Luminara and how she was used to lure Jedi. Talks about Isla Secura and says, Sulaire provided a critical warning to me as well when I triggered a holographic recording of her at a Jedi prison at Sasson. Very interesting. I would love to see if this is picked up in some game, because that'd be very cool. It's about Quinlan and how he survived Order 66. There's about Huluk and how Luke got his lightsaber and he kind of ruined it, but then he said, fortunately, my skill at rebuilding Jedi weapons improved over the years. Doesn't say if he managed to rebuild the lightsaber or not. Talks about starfighters, robes. Talks about this. This book has everything, guys. It's really, really impressive. Talks about locations, Jedi trainings, weapons, kyber crystals, like you name it. Talks a lot about Rey towards the end. At the end, there's a note from Rey that talks about why she chose to grab the name of Skywalker. It says Luke Skywalker might be gone from this plane, just like all the Jedi who came before him, but he will live forever because in the end, I am all the Jedi, and maybe we all are. Probably something that will cause some controversies with some people, but you know, I think it's actually kind of cool. It says I'm to probably wear my master's name while doing so in honor of his life and his sacrifice. It's a very, very interesting book, guys. Okay, we continue with the Secrets of the Sith, and this book is written by Palpatine. This is chronicled by him. He talks about how he survived. So this book is supposed to be written as he's about to face Rey and Kylo. Because on this book, he mentions about how he thinks that Kylo might be up to following Vader, but he's not sure. And then he, he's basically say, well, if he fails, I always have my granddaughter. So it talks about how, Revenge of the Sith. So it talks about how he pretty much orchestrated the entire Clone Wars and everything, which I thought is very cool. It talks about how the Jedi return, how the rebels won. Then talks a lot about abilities the Sith have. Tricks of the mind, physical force lightning, transference. Talks about his legacy. Talks about how he was cloned. My new body is forming persevere and able to leave Exegol. I will have to spread my influence across the galaxy through less direct means. As part of the genetic experiment, my followers had attempted to create another being that came to be known as Snoke. Although his body proved unworthy of containing my dark essence, Snoke's natural sensitivity to the Force would make him a powerful puppet nonetheless. So he was a clone, but like he didn't have Palpatine's mind and spirit, if you will, but he manipulated him to pretty much get him to do what he wanted to do. Talks about Rey, how about the son that he had, and then how he and his partner, wife, I'm guessing, Rey, and how she could have been. And this image is very, very cool. The what could have been. Rey had gone to the dark side. Talks about the chosen one, and talks about, but it doesn't say anything about him being conceived by Darth Sidious or Darth Plagueis, neither of them. But it does talk about how he manipulated Anakin, which I thought was very interesting. Talks about Leia, about Luke, Kylo. He says here, even though he knows what must be done, I fear my young ally lacks the strength to do it. So kind of looks like this is right before. Talks about the stranger. So this is heavily connected to the Acolyte. It says, before I became the final apprentice of Darth Plagueis, there was another attempted threat of Sith lineage at play. A former Padawan of Jedi Master Vernestra Rwoh in the warning days of the High Republic had embraced the dark side under a number of false identities, including that of the masked warrior simply called the Stranger. He sowed discord among the Jedi as he sought to take on a pupil of his own, and then talks about Osha. Obviously, I have to speak about Maul and Dooku and all the assassins that Dooku trained. Talks about lightsabers. It really gets. It does say here he had a pair of lightsabers, so he has two. Even though we've seen him in Revenge of the Sith with one, but we saw him with two in the Clone Wars. So this pretty much confirms that he had two lightsabers. That wasn't a fluke on the Clone Wars. So those of you who have Sidious lightsaber, you might want to consider getting another one. Talks about the Inquisitors, Kylo. I thought this was very interesting. Like essentially the note that you would be given if you were suspected of being a collaboration with any Jedi or anything. Talks about the Night Sisters, Acolytes of the Beyond, Knights of Ren, The Sith Eternal. It really is very, very interesting. It talks about Wayfinders. I'm pretty sure at one point he discusses Lord Mormon helmet, the Stranger's helmet. Very interesting. But then at the end, there's also another note from Rey. It says that the Sith are no more, the Emperor is dead and gone. It helped that I had people like Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, Finn, and even Ben to remind me of the truth. Every one of us has both the light and the dark within us. And we move quickly to the Secrets of the Bounty Hunters. Now, this one is very, very interesting. It's a completely different type of format, so it's much longer. But this one is written by one of our favorite characters, Hondo Ohnaka. Has here his wanted poster and everything. And the entire book is like this. So the entire book is filled with like little insets where, you know, there are details hidden and stuff like, you know, his Bounty Hunter Guild card membership is in there, more on Mando and Din Djarin. It's really absolutely cool, and it has a lot, like, I'm not kidding you guys, it has a lot of stuff for the Bounty Hunters. And as we move along to the Clone Troopers, again, it's in this larger format, but it's absolutely cool. This one is written by Rex, and like the Bounty Hunter, has a lot of inserts with a lot of cool extra features all across the books, and, you know, very like little tidbits of knowledge and art that are just simply like really, really well done. For a book that looks more illustrated for kids, this is really, really well done. Like some of the inserts that it talks about, like, say, for example, this on Umbara with Master Krell. Absolutely cool. 100% recommend it. And last but not least, we get the Secrets of the Wookiees. And I think this one was a very strange one, because this is written-ish by Chewbacca. What I mean ish is that it's actually written by C-3PO, as Chewbacca had mentioned a lot of things on information. So it's absolutely one that's cool. It has this little "she works for beginners," so it has like noises with like common phrases. It's absolutely cool. And again, like the Bounty Hunter and Clone Trooper has just a lot of extras that you can just like flip around inside that add to the knowledge of the Wookiees. And there you have them. I think that they're really, really good books. They would make an excellent gift to a Star Wars fan, especially these new versions. And granted, you're gonna have to excuse me with my a bit of an OCD thing. It's not gonna sit great on a shelf because of the gigantic difference in size that one has, size and width, like how tall and how wide they are. But I think that if you were to give these 5 books to a Star Wars fan, they will really, really love it. So you have a birthday coming up, Christmas, whatever, and you have someone to gift to that's a Star Wars fan, definitely consider these books, because they're really not that expensive. And they're absolutely worth all the lore that they contain, so you consider them. Nerds, that's been my contribution today for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. I've been your host, as always, Luke Skywalker. And remember, the Force will be with you always. Remember to live long and prosper, and may the odds be ever in your favor, Melanin. And until we meet again, Mischief Manage. I'll see you around, nerds.